Good evening, everyone. Yeah. Okay. Today we'll be looking at assertions. Why do we need assertions and how to use assertions? And we'll look at um, fluent assertion and unit assertion. I understand your last one of your training you just did recently. The tutor went through with you on assertion. So part 2 of the training, I will let somebody share their screen and see the work you've done for assertion. Then also I'll open the floor if people have issues automating on their projects. Then we see what we can do to help. Okay. One second, let me get a notepad. Yeah, so assertion is not only limited to us, the QAs, but you remember when we were learning about TDD and the ATDD and the BDD. We mentioned that in the TDD, they write a test that is failing already. So as they are developing the products, they have to assert that now the product is now, or that particular code is now passing. So assertion is normally used when, especially the developers, they are developing unit test projects or any projects, and they have to write unit tests. So assertion that we are going to learn comes from unit tests. So in C sharp, we have N unit, we have X unit. One second, let me make it a big bold. And we have MS test. So this three counts by default from the project template you select uh, from your Visual Studio. But there's another third-party library called Fluent Assertion. With the N unit, when you are building the framework, right? We said you need in your situation, you were using .NET 4. Most of you are using 2022 Visual Studio. So we're using .NET 6.0, isn't it, as our framework. And this framework will have some libraries in there in terms of special namespaces and other things. Then it helps you to compile the code. You have the C# language bindings and other things. And as part of this, we needed any of this to do our work. We also needed spec flow. We needed n I think we use n units, and or sometimes you can use the fluent assertion. If you choose the spec flow template, it's likely it will recommend you use Fluent Assertion, but you can import the NUnit library as well if you want Fluent Assertion. So let me put this here as our framework. Okay. um on top of this, there were other things that we added, like our Selenium. We needed the Chrome driver, Selenium Chrome driver, and we added Selenium support. There are other ones you can add, Log4net and other things if you want to add, but we don't need those ones for now. But our emphasis will be on this Fluent assertion or NUnit assertion. So the NUnit and Fluent assertion, uh, they are they have some predefined classes and methods that help us to find or verify our test, whether it should pass or fail if it's there. It's a whole lot of library. You may not use a lot, but for developers, if you have opportunity to see their code at work, you will notice that they may use different variety of NUnit assertion class and methods. So I'll share with you briefly how it looks like if you go to the website, and I'll share with you on the chart. One second. So it says assertions are central to unit testing in any unit, any of the X units, and N units is no exception. NUnit provides a rich set of assertion and static methods for the asset class. So, well, I've already explained what a class is and other things. And out of class, we have its members like methods and other things. So within the, you can do a single asset or multiple assets. By far, the most you will see is single assets. A lot of people don't use the multiple asset, but you can asset multiple things by using this particular multiple assets if you want to use it. Where is it? Asset multiple. So if you use asset dot multiple, it gives you the opportunity to use two different assets. Um, it has some advantages, so that if what happened with the session is that normally if one fails, it will not go into the next one. The next one will automatically fail. But multiple assets has that functionality to check both of them. In Java, they will call it soft asset and hard asset. But in C# we will call it multiple assets. Now, let me go back. Where was I? Yes, asset classes. So we have asset true or false. To assert something that is true or false, that means you want to check when you are on the website, that particular element is available or you have got to that particular page. So I will try and use our prep major if I have it here. So imagine you are a user of this website, right? And you enter a username and you enter a password. You want to log in. And once you log in, it will provide you with a login page where maybe you see courses. So your true intention is to get to that particular destination. But because you are writing automation scripts and you are not using human eye, you want to check that surely it has got to that particular page. For example, if I click on this, become an instructor, I want, oh, maybe I have to, let me check another one. Okay, I've selected business, okay, as a course category. You notice that immediately I selected business, it's brought me to this business page, which was different from the previous page. If I go back one step, this is how the page is. This is the landing page or home page, or some will say welcome page. Either of them is okay. But if my whole intention of the test is to get to business page, I need to verify that I'm on this page. Okay, I can see it physically, but when the test is running and I cannot see whether you are running what we call headless mode or you are running on a pipeline, you won't actually see the test running like you are doing right now when it's running on your page. So you want to write a special um, class and a method kind of assertion just to check or verify that this business category has been taken. This URL, you can see the URL is now ending with business, or the page itself is called business page. So there are so many things you can assert on that particular um, test that you are running. So I've given you an example. You are using the URL, because if I go back one step, you'll notice that the URL ends with user account. That means that this page, although is the landing page, because it has register or whatever, the developer has called it user account. But immediately I selected courses over here, where's business. I selected any of the category of courses. You can see that it has changed from here to this particular URL. So you want to assert that this URL has exactly this, or it has this title. The other way to check the title is to right click and you go to view page source. If you go to view page source, usually in the HTML document, they will put the title of the URL. And let me see where it is. Usually you'll find it at the top. Yes. So on line 8, this is the title of that URL, this particular page. Okay, that is the title. It's called, it's embedded. You can see there's an XML tag starting with title and ending with title. And the whole page is this. So you can put this in your session just to check that when you click on that particular page, especially some of you, I noticed you were doing footer and you were checking on about us policy and all other items in the footer page. So every navigation that goes to that particular page you want, you find any elements that you want to. So you can start with the URL, you can start with the page title, or any text that is meaningful over there. Apart from that, there are times when you can assert um, a selection of items. Trying to see if we have something like that here. Let me go back one step. So this this is a checkbox. Okay, there there are times you'll be working on a page where certain things has been disabled. Okay, a checkbox or radio box can be disabled or can be enabled. and sometimes you want to assert that people cannot tick that box, or you want to assert that maybe people can select that box. So you can also do assertion based on some of the page elements that are there. Apart from navigation to the page that you are testing, there are times when certain elements itself you want to assert. There are times too you can do an assertion based on um, what is being displayed. For example, you can see in this checkbox we have sign. By signing up, you agree to our terms of use and privacy policy. There are situations when you are right in your user stories. The business analyst or the product owners will give a certain text as that is what they want it to display. Okay, whether it's a drop down text or after somebody sign up, they will get a message on the web page just to tell them that, oh, you sign up successfully, and the message will disappear. Sometimes it can display for a couple of seconds, then it will disappear. But you want to accept that particular message in that drop down, or we call it, oh, can't remember when it something displays and disappear. So you can choose an option to get the text in that particular message, just to check that it's the exact words that you are expecting. In such an assertion, you are doing a comparison type of assertion. You are comparing your actual value. So in your assertion, they have over here, I may not use some of them like NAN and other things. Um, Most times it's likely you use true, false, um, are equal or are not equal. When you are using the are equal, you are trying to um, provide a message, like in this prep major course, that the message you are providing them in your feature file, okay, is it exactly to the message that is showing on the web page? So it will check the exact. There are times when you will be asserting counts of elements. Can give an example, maybe category. Yes. You can see in this category we have Abby, art, photography, business, development, health and fitness, information, IT software, personal development, photography, and teaching and academics. You can also check in this category that does this particular assertion, if you are asserting that, because you don't want one day maybe this maybe is a bug. This is not what we expect. We expect it to start from art and photography, business, development, health and fitness, because we know this is not a course. Okay. And the total number of items in the category you are expecting should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But you have 10. So you can accept the count that maybe in this category you want um you are expecting 9 items. So when you run your test and it gets to this page and it clicks the drop down, it will assert all the items in here and check whether they are 9. If it's more than 9, it will fail it. Okay. So in a way, when I think you have learned, all of you have learned about your boundary value analysis and equivalent partitioning in the foundation stage when we're learning about. So in a way, you are checking your boundary value analysis that In case this is more than 9, you should throw an exception. So if you go here, we have we'll come to contains as well. Contains is relatively easy to do most of the time because you can give part of um, a content or part of a string just to check that it contains that amount, that particular string or some of that string. But the one I'm talking about is if you are going to use like less or greater. If you are certain that maybe if it's greater than 9, you expect 9. If you are certain that maybe it's less, if you want to assert that maybe it's greater or equal to, you can use this one. Um, Pass and fail, you may not use that one a lot. Yes. Some of them, when you are doing a lot of boundary value analysis and you want to accept numbers, not zero, that's when you use some of these ones. Okay, so um, the other one is fluent assertions. Fluent assertion doesn't list it this way. Let's go to the documentation and see. So in, in the fluent assertion, most times when they want to assess something, you do it within your step definition. And once you create your page objects and you call your methods, you may have validated your method in a page object. I will use my Visual Studio to explain this at the moment. It looks like I'm speaking in another language, but you understand it briefly. So you want to say that that particular method that is coming from page objects, you want to assert whether maybe that page object is it true or is it false. Okay, in that instance, you have already checked in or check the equal value or whether that particular element is enabled, whether it's displayed, and it's always good to use a Boolean value. A Boolean value is where you are returning what we call true or false. So it gives you two options, whether that thing is there or it's not there. And we'll go into it a little bit later. Um, so these are all examples of it. I'll open Visual. Where is it? Mm, mm. Okay, this may take a while to do. Mm, okay. Mm. Oh, what did I do? I've messed something up in my project. Okay, let me quickly create a project and see. I didn't. This was what I was using last time, but it looks like I may have missed something. Uh,
You do.
let's 6.0. Let's see. 1 second. Let me open another project and see. I think my um, SDK is throwing error here. I think it's my target firmware. I may have changed it to something. Okay, I think it's resolved. The issues are gone. Okay, so um when you write your test, okay, uh we said that in BDD the given is the context or the precondition. Then we use and to show if you have multiple preconditions. Then we use when for the actions. Sometimes you might have multiple actions that you need to take. For example, on that particular page, prep major, I was trying to input the name, email, because I'm registering or signing up. So there are particular things I need to put in there. But your then is the outcome. The outcome is that you should be able to register. So it's likely that when I register, I may get an email or I may get a message on the website over there, this website. Where's the website? Sometimes you can register. I don't know now, but some websites you can register and you get a message that you have been registered successfully. Some once you register, it will ask you to log in with that username and password. Okay. And if the password and the username is correct, it will show that you have successfully registered by giving you your account page. So in that case, we want to check that we can register in the account page. Now, if I want to check that my assertion is working. I have to check that maybe I've been able to get to that page. So let me run this test and see where I was last time. Where is it? So the test is running here. One second. Go to definition. So what I'm doing is that I just want to continue from where I was and see what is the issue. Okay. Let me. Oh no, it's going to take long. I use that name. Okay. Let me do another one for. Let me create a feature file. If not, this will take me long to complete. We might end up using most of the time. Use- Okay. So I'm creating a new feature. So I go to spec flow. I'll call it maybe landing page. Call it home. So it's giving me a short summary of what I need. So it's giving me a feature contest. What I'll do is that I'll copy it here and write a new line assertion. Then we do it. Where's my
Okay.
sign up feature? So we want this.
Sorry, what's the cause of that error?
Which error?
The one that that just appeared now when you tried to create a feature file. There was a little box that showed up.
This box.
No, there was a little box when you created the feature file. Then there was this flash.
Let me do
Yeah,
it again.
yeah, please, yeah.
Um, Features, add new item, spec flow file, uh, landing, landing feature. Operation could not be completed. Um,
Because I got that same error before, so I don't know what the cause is.
yeah, I think the last time this should have a C sharp binding behind it. Maybe that is the reason it's missing. But let me add this here and see what happens. If it doesn't work, then there's an issue. In your situation, did it work when you created a feature file?
No, it didn't work. The first
It
feature file I created worked, but the second one I created had that problem.
okay. So I'm calling this landing. Let me build this clean. Because I did a little bit of debugging, it's saying that my Chrome could not run. Let me see. It's working for me anyway. So it's open. Now I want to add an assertion. This is the action. Let me on the page. Let's see what we can assert with. So I said you can use the URL to do an assertion. So we're going to start with the URL, then we use maybe the page title, then we use any of the buttons, then we try and assert as much as possible. When you get that error, clean and build again and see what happens.
Okay, thanks.
Mm. I created a feature file. The square, the blues padlock thing that you are seeing is because I've checking my code. So um, any code that I write here is saving it as a version on my computer, and later on I can push onto Azure DevOps or GitHub, or I think some of you have learned the introduction of Git. So if you don't see any padlock like this or whatever, that lock symbol next to it and the plus means that I'm yet to add it. There's a small pencil over here that is showing the changes, and there's this arrow up and down. The arrow is showing what is coming in and what is going out whilst I'm coding. And this it's like a necklace or whatever. It's showing the branch that I'm working on. But usually, because previously I was working on sign up, I call the branch sign up feature slash sign up. And this is the project. this is the Git project that I'm working on. So automation winter project. There are times when you join a company, they will have the project already started and they will have Git and you have to clone. And I think some of you have, because I've been seeing in the chat. So it's just telling me that I can add this to the work I'm doing. So I'm going to create a step definition. I'm not going to use and when, because I'm just doing 2 lines. I just want to do an assertion. So over here, you can see I'm not using the asset um, class over here, but in my step definition or in my page class, I'm going to use the assets. I haven't given the scenario name, so let's call it verify landing page. Verify landing page. So I'm going to create step definition, and I believe some of you learned about step definition yesterday. So you go to define steps, and it will create landing step definitions for you. It's creating a class, because if you check on this side, I don't have, I have sign up page, login page, demo page as step definition. But this landing feature and this landing feature and home feature that I just added, I don't have step definition for it. Every feature file should have a corresponding step definition, or some will say step def. And that's how BDD you automate. So let's create define steps. If you are using 2019, it will be a bit different. You may not see it this way. So you go to create, because it's the first class I'm creating. If I have created a class already called landing steps, all I have to do is go to copy clipboard. If I go to copy clipboard, I can add it to an already made class. So if I want to add it to maybe sign up page, I can go to copy clipboard. It will copy as just like you are using Control C command, and it will copy. You go to that particular class like this. Then ideally you should put it at the top. If you put at the bottom, you keep scrolling and you wouldn't be efficient. So you put at the top, then you just work your way. So all the old classes that are working will be at the bottom of your page. Some do it differently. It's just about what you feel will work faster for you. But to me, if you put it at the top, you don't have to scroll all the time, because the code can build and it can go. Today, one code that was needed was like 500 lines. You can imagine you are going all the way down 500 lines just to control paste. Um, yeah, so I need it in my step definition class. So let's do that again one more time. Landing landing step definition. Great. So it has created um the binding, the step definition binding for that particular feature. Okay, let me save it, because oh no, I may have to buy computer. Computer has too much information. It says it doesn't have enough space. Can you imagine? Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, let me save it. I have two lines over here, but because this was purple and I created a new class, this class only have one step definition method. Okay, and the method is um, public void, then the landing page should display. But because this has already been implemented in another class called sign up class, if I run this test, it will still pick it up because this is bound to an already made step definition. So we will navigate to this page, but I just want to see the landing page should display. So um, let me go to the page objects. Okay, in the page object, I have a landing page class already. So I don't need to create another landing page class because remember, all the pages, the features may be different, but your page are likely to be the same. For example, if you come to and listen to this bit because sometimes it confuses a lot of people. What was I doing? Um, going to page sorts. This is the landing page, but this landing page has a login feature. It has a sign up feature. Okay, it can you can also search for courses. So if my VAs or my team are writing user story to do with search courses, because I'm going to search courses on this particular page, which is the landing page, I can put all the page elements I need with this one. Although the feature will be search courses, the step definition will be search courses. But this particular element over here, if I go to inspect, and let me, this element, this element, this search button, this drop down of courses, they are all on one page. So I can choose to put all the elements that are synonymous to the page in the landing page class. You get it? But you can see that my feature file will be talking about maybe sign up or login or maybe Facebook, Twitter, and all these icons or what we call social media. Although they are social media icons, they are all on the landing page. So you can put all these elements on landing page class, and that's what we call the page object model. So this page has become the object by which we are running our tests, getting all the elements. If I go to contact us and I click on about us, now you can see the page has changed. The elements over here, although this has courses, but it has other things. It doesn't have sign in, sign up, but it has other features. So I can create another page for about us just to assert other things. So now let's just do the assertion for, we said we wanted to use the URL. Um, okay, public void. I think I have fluent assertion already. Let me check already and see if we have the fluent assertion. Okay, I have fluent assertion in there. Public void. Oh no. You will notice from all the methods here, I use public void. Over here, I use public void. Over here, I use public void, enter username. But when I got to the assertion I'm going to do, I'm using bool, because when you highlight on bool, it's saying that represent a boolean true or false value. We want a particular value to appear and check whether it's true or false. So I'm using true or false. And remember when I did the C# basics, I told you we have methods that has return type, and methods like this, it will return something. And methods like this, it will not return. If you write a method with public bool, public string, or whatever name you put here, that means you want to return that particular um, reference or that particular value. So you have to use the return keyword. If you don't use the return keyword, it will keep throwing this error. So you can see it has a regular line over here. Immediately I use the return keyword, is happy with the method name. Again, because um it's a question that is going to return true or false, I intentionally started with is. Okay, so you can just write it like this. Landing page display will work, but every time you are using bool, ideally, because you are throwing a question to return true or false, so it's good to use is. So I'm going to say driver dot. Because I've used the equal sign, I'm going to use the exact URL. If it doesn't match the URL, it will do false. 1 second. Let's go to the website. Sometimes too, you can put double equal sign in there as well. Um, we'll do that one. This is the URL. This is a wrong URL. We want it to return which you is this how you prepare your user account. Let me see the URL that was here. So I'm going to call this is in the landing page class, right? I'm going to call this particular method into my step definition. Is it sign up the step definition? No, this one. No, this one. This step definition. This through implementation, you don't need it. What is actually telling you is that you have to put in a code here. Okay, you have to put in a code here. But if you don't put a code in here and you run this test, all it will tell you is that there's an exception over here. So that's why it's throwing pending exception. You don't need it. Now, I want to call that method in here. And we said from the page objects model class that if you want to call the members of another class, you have to create an object of that class. The method that we want, it belongs to landing page class. It belongs to this landing page class. So we have to create an object here of landing page. But this landing page, I've used it elsewhere. And the new C sharp we are going to try to use, it has implicit using. So let me see if I have landing page class here. I don't have landing page class. So let me go to landing page. And I'm going to sign up feature. I need this. I need this object in there. Okay, copy. And landing page dot this page displayed method. So most times we end our statements as this, okay, but because we are doing an assertion, because we are doing an assertion for that particular then clause, this one, this then, we just can't end it like that. We have called this to be whether it's true or false. So we have to use the dot symbol and we use should. So it's giving us option. These days is easy because it gives you what you need to type. So if I do a double tap, it will just give me what I need. So I want to tell my code that once I runs this code and it gets there, it should check whether the URL there is equal to the URL in this landing page. Okay, I want to see that it's equal to this landing page. So let's run it and see. Landing page, this one. Oh, it's going to run on my other. Page. Okay. So it's telling us that it's expected um, landing page to be true, but it found it to be false. So we have to check why did it find it to be false, because you can see in the error over here that the first one is done, it passed. The second one, it, it couldn't find it, so it failed it. So let's check why it says. We go to definition. Usually the problem will be in the page object, the landing page. So we go to is page displayed. Step definition. Okay, user account. Let me change it and run it this way as well. Oh no, 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 it's going to run all the tests. Let me, okay, now it will just run the one I highlight. So it's running in the background here for me. Okay, so I've tried the second time, it's not working. I want to see the value it's giving me. So I'm going to debug and it will get to that particular point. Then we'll see the value true and false when you are debugging. So it's part of the learning. Oh. So it's open the page and it's got the. Now you can see at the bottom of my page, I have what we call locales in there, and I have this in here, driver browser version. Capabilities URL. So it's not showing anything for the URL here. It's not showing anything. It's not showing any value here. So there's something wrong with it. Because what will happen is that when it gets there, usually it should get the URL and display it there. Let me come back to it and use another thing that is displaying public bool is login, sign up, displayed. return driver, um, driver dot find element. So I can put in the whole code in there, but it's not ideal. So I have to create a field of the sign up to check if the sign up is displayed. So let's go to our website. This is the sign up button. So I'm going to check with the relative CSS. Landing page class. Okay, so I'm going to put it here. Private by course by is it not giving me by CSS?
Private by sign up.
Sorry,
Private by sign up.
sign up. Yeah, small letter sign up button. It's a button. I like to name it like nouns, and the method, because they are actions, you describe them as verbs. So because these are variable and they are containers, I have something like that. So I shouldn't name it the same way, because if two variables are the same, it will give you error. So um, I even have it there already. Why am I worrying myself? But you can declare it this way, okay, or you can also use this way. If you declare it private by equals sign up button like this, you have to, you may not need to put in the driver like this in the um or something like this. You don't need to do it like this. If you do it like this, yeah, this is what I was looking for. So let's call it private by sign up new sign up. Be surprised if it doesn't give me what I want by CSX selector. Okay, small p. I started the first letter with lowercase, the next word capital or uppercase, and the next one uppercase. So take note. But even if you make it all bold, it will work. But that is the convention we use. As in, no, what's it called? New sign up. I called it new sign up button. Dot displayed. Okay. So I'm going to call this one and see if it's in our step definition. Landing page. Sign up feature. So instead of deleting the code, because I may need it later, I don't need to delete the code. So what I've done is that I've just commented it out. Landing page dot is uh, is not coming in. Landing page class is sign up displayed. Sign up displayed. Yeah. And open and close dot should um, be true.
Please, I have a question.
Yes, go on.
Okay, on the assert you are on, can we write assert dot is true to brackets landing page is displayed?
Yes, you can write it.
Okay, it's still the same thing, right?
Yes, that belongs to the end unit.
Exactly.
What
Okay,
I'm doing now is the fluent assertion. This
fluent
fluent
assertion.
assertion, you have to bring the method. Then, because the method I've defined it in this landing page class, so I'm calling the method, and that method I've checked whether it's displayed already here.
Okay,
Okay. Yes. So you can do it that way.
thank you.
Mm, but that will be the next one that I'll look at using the end unit. Okay, let me pause it. Landing step definition. Landing page step definition. Okay. It was showing me red underline because I was still debugging whilst I was changing the code. So I have to stop the debugging. Um, when you clean and build, sometimes because you're in debugging mode, that Chrome session was open. Listen to this, Vito. You know, so far, this was what this page, I haven't closed it. This was the last time Chrome went there. And in my hooks folder, if you come to hooks here, I have WebDriver quit. That should quit. But I didn't quit that particular session. So that session was still to be open and I was debugging. What will happen is that sometimes when you go to Manager, it may open that Chrome session that was already there. So if you clean your code and you build it, it will tell you to go and sort out that Chrome extension file, executable file that was already or is already being used. So you have to close it. If not, it will not compile your code and will throw an error. But I won't clean it. I will just run the test and see. Oh, sorry. So this is our test. Let's see how it runs. So it's happy with it. Now, because I provided the URL here, and in the first URL that I put here, that URL doesn't have user account. If I've used driver contains URL, I've used an expression here equals to, if I've used maybe contains Epsilon, it's likely it will work. So sometimes if you want to be on the safe side and not assert things very rigidly, you can use contains so that if the URL has HTTP, it has tests, it has rate icons and things like that, you can use it. But my suspicion is that because it fails, it's asserting this URL with the URL that was in my feature file, this particular URL. So I'm going to use the URL again, but I'll remove the user account from the end to see if it matches this particular URL and see if it will pass. So let's go back. So I'm teaching different ways if your session is failing, how you can debug and find out these things. You won't get anyone to teach you unless you come to Blue Sky Citadel. Um, okay, so I'm using the other one, which is, and let me go to the landing page class and remove this. It has to be the same as the URL, what was in the feature file. It ends with a slash. Okay, to be on the safe side, let me copy it. And let's see, landing page. And oh no, I didn't copy HTTP. Let's see if it will work. It's doing the magic on my other side. So it's passed the test over here because it is now seeing that the URL that it was getting is equal to this URL. So remember I mentioned in NUnit, let's go back to this NUnit one, this one, NUnit assertion. And we go to assertion. Where's asset equals So is although is using fluent assertion, right? Is checking against this assert dot equal, because in the code over here, in the landing page, I use this equal sign. Okay, I use this equal sign. So it's making sure that whatever I provided earlier on in the feature file, it should be equal to this. But if you are doing in the other question our brother asks, asset dot equal, you have to provide what is equal and what it should be equal to, or what was the actual and what is expected. So sometimes you can use it should contain any of this in the URL. So if it's a long or an array or a collection of items that is expecting, like I showed you the courses. If I go to the page and I say it should count the number of courses, or it should give me the number of courses in the drop down, and I provide one example in the courses and say it should contain that course, then if I provide business, it should give me that business URL. So we use the instead of this one, let me stop debugging and see if we can do it here. I said compared to, so this one. So if I use this contains, I said dot, let me go back one step just for those who are not, maybe they I'm ahead of what they are thinking at the moment. We said in the assertion, right? We have to create a method for the fluent assertion. We have to create a method, and the method you choose the return type, because we want, with fluent assertion, most times we want to check whether it's true or false, if that thing is there or not. You use bool, and the bool is a data type that returns true or false. So ideally, if you are starting your method, you have to start like it's a question. Is landing page displayed? Then it would return you true or false. But because we've used this bool, we have to use the return keyword, because it's going to return us the driver. We want it to return the drive this particular result for us. Okay, but we have to use the driver to get to that page to check that the driver was he able to get this particular content or this particular expression that we want. But because we are using URL, after we hit the driver is an object of web driver. The driver gives us this option: equals, quit, manage, monitor, window handles. If you want to move from one tab or windows, you use dispose, enumerating, but we don't need all of this. If you want to find elements, we use find elements. But because we want URL, there's a special if you want the title of the page, we can use driver.title. I think that maybe we can use that one next. But because we want URL, we go to URL straight. But in the URL, what do we want to do with it? Do we want to check that it's equal to the URL we are providing, or it contains any of them? So it has a lot of methods as well. So you can see equals, and I use operand. We call it those mathematical symbols that we use in coding. We call it operand. So if you use double equal to, it means equal to. If you use only one single equal to like this, it means you are assigning whatever is here to go into this particular variable. Okay, but in this case, we are not using the assignment symbol. We use the double equal to. So we're saying that whatever was on the right here, we want it to be equivalent to this particular thing that is returning. Because there's a full stop here, that's why it's showing me an error. But I'm using the equal to full stop because we don't want to use equal to. So you can see here, apart from equals, you can use this equal sign. It will do the same thing. There are times you want to check whether it starts with HTTPS. You can do it. So you can remove this like this, and you do it like this. So I'm showing the nitty gritty so that you become confident when you are doing it. So you can do like this, that it starts with HTTP. If that is just the assertion you want to do, okay, that's your URL. Because sometimes you can have so much data that you want to validate, but you don't want to do everything. You just want to check that it once it starts with HTTP, you are happy, and it's not HTTPS. Maybe it's not HTTPS, you know, or something like that. But you just want to check that it starts with this. So, oh, sorry, I use equal to start with or ends with, start with. So I can choose, does it start with HTTP? The URL, does it start with HTTP? And it should, when you run the test, it will check whether it starts with HTTP and it will pass it. There's other methods there. Another one too you can use is does it end with? You can also check the length, like if you count the characters, how long is the length of the characters or the strings, okay, or the string. But what we wanted is what contains. So contains, you can use any part of the URL, whether it's HTTPS or rate icons, or what was the, I think Appleson. But choose something that is more meaningful in the code. So if we go to our URL, we have maybe this is the main URL, so we can choose whether it contains this or whether it contains a person user account, any of them. Always copy exactly from there rather than typing when it comes to things like that, because if you get one letter wrong, it will throw an error. So try and copy exact icons. Um, so let's use a person to do it. I think this project is for a person team. Okay. Wow, our time is gone. I wanted somebody to share their screen so we can help. So it's checking for me on my other screen. If it passed, we'll see it here. So he's done it. So he's happy. It says this is done, this is done. Because why? It noticed that in the URL, when it got to the URL contains this letter. Now let's intentionally spell this wrong. Okay, so either I leave out uh, or get a wrong data. So we are doing negative testing right now. So I'm going to provide Kwame, and I know Kwame is not in the URL. So let's check what happens. We expect this to fail. So if you expect this to fail, usually you can write it negatively. Listen to this, is very important. Sometimes you expect something to be false so that when it's true, it's not a good test. But in our step definition class, I've wrote that this should be true. But I know that I've provided Kwame, and Kwame should have been false. So here, actually, I should have used false for the test to be true. But I've used a false data and I'm expecting it to be true. So I expect this to fail. But if you are writing so that your test will run in a negative scenario, if you provide an invalid data, also expect it to be false so that your test will pass here. But you know that your test has passed because that data is not existing. Okay. So let's run it this way. So let's look at what it, it provided. So you can see here it says error expected landing page is landing page to be true because I put here to be true, but it found it to be false because I provided um, a false data. So now let me change it from here and say that we want it to be false because I've provided a false data. So if you want to write some of your scenarios to add your negative scenarios, you can add assertions like this because you've provided the wrong data so that we see. So I've provided Kwame. Let's run this test again. So if if I have changed this scenario, where's my scenario feature file? And I said verify or invalid scenario, verify that the landing page is not Kwame or something like that. Then I know that this test has passed because my whole focus or scope that I'm using is a negative test and I've provided a negative scenario, but it should pass. But a genuine failure is the other one that I did just before this, that I said it should be true, but when he went there, he saw that it was Kwame. That is a genuine failure. Now, the other one, which is I can't do all the scenario for the test session, but let's once you get the understanding of today's class, I think you can be able to do most of the um this is the landing page feature. uh, Step definition. I do have this one. Okay, so I'm going to write another one which is public this time. I'll use public void because if I use public void for the n unit one I'm going to use, I may have to return something first. Then I will have to call this particular I have to call this particular method in that assertion, whether it's true. Then I have to call it in the step definition. But let's do it this way first. Public void. What should we use to assert what's on the page? So you want to go on the page and see maybe Facebook is there. So let's click on Facebook and we want to check if Facebook is there. Uh, or should I use page title? Let's use Facebook. I've already selected that one. So private by Facebook. Because it's an icon, Facebook icon by dot. This thing, don't do this thing. All of them should go at the top. Don't mix it up here. Let me put at the top because some people will go and do the same thing. Let all your web element reference go at the top. So CSS. Looks like because I copied, it's copied wrong information. Go back to the page. We said Facebook. That's it. So I called it what, Facebook icon. The public void. This time I'm going to call asset Facebook icon on landing page. Okay, landing. So when you look at um the asset library collection that we have, it was a long list that I showed you. It has all these methods in there, are equal, are not equal, are not the same, are the same, by value, catch I think contains. So on that page, what do you want to check? You want to check that does it contains a letter or not? No. You want to ignore inconclusive, empty. I told you by far the most you use is I said that, I said true, I said pass. Um, so let's use I said that. Let me I said I don't want this one. We use what? Facebook icon dot. Okay, so I'm going to explain what I'm doing. The asset is a class, and in that class, it has multiple methods that we can use. And when you are using any of the methods, it depends which one you want to use. You can see there was a whole list of them that equals same or whatever. But here I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing what I want to see, unlike the URL that I did for the Fluent assertion. Here I just want to check something is displayed. I don't want to check whether it contains like a list. If it was the courses, then I can use contains. Should it check, or I should check the value or count that it contains something. But I just want to check that it has this Facebook item displayed on the page. So this find element driver is an object, and in that object it has also this method. And this method find element, usually we should have expressed it by class name ID CSS, but we have stored that CSS value in this Facebook icon. So this has become our reference value. So you can see here we have the Facebook icon over here. So we have stored by CSS. You can use this directly in there, but I've told you it's not a good way of writing code. You'll be hard coding. It's good to keep those things that are nitty gritty as private. So you hide it. It's a way of encapsulating your code, or encapsulating your code. So we want to check whether this is displayed. Dot um displayed. Why is that? Okay. I'm going to the step definition. Where is it? This one. And I was calling this one, so it's throwing me that error. So I want to call landing page object is asset Facebook icon is on the page. So let's go to the Facebook page. This is still throwing an error for me. Okay, it's gone. The error is gone. I think previously I was using this in the step definition, so it was saying that I have two displayed in there. But it can work if I'm using maybe multiple assets for the all the n units. You can asset using multiple assets, but if it's just a single asset, it will try an error. So now it will navigate to the page and we'll check if Facebook is on the page. So we want to run the test, the same test, and see. Our 2 hours is gone. I wanted somebody to share the screen. It says there's a build error. Let me check. It's expecting something. Oh, over here. Mm, let's try again. So it's going to open here. It's going to go on the page. So it's done it for us. The test has passed. Verify landing page. So at this moment, we have a couple of minutes. Who is available to share their screen? And if you have any issue with your session or any automation, I was hoping we can finish early and have 1 hour, but it looks like hard more. Everything is going well with everyone.
Listen,
And
yeah, you
this
said,
class, you are too good, though. Uh,
sir,
your mentors are doing well. Well done.
now you said the link has to be the same with the one in the feature and the one in the assertion, yeah?
Which one?
You said the link has to be the same. This one and the one in the assertion.
Yes.
Okay, what if the sign-in page is in another page, not on the landing page?
If the sign in is another,
Another page.
yes, you have to navigate. It would depend the context of what you are trying to test. If you go to, I think I gave an example earlier on. 1 second, let me share. Um, which one did I use? Like contact us. When you click on privacy policy, it takes you to another page. Okay, so I'm going to click on it. So the question you are asking if it's on another page, if your test is to test whether the user clicks on privacy policy, they are able to get this information. Then you have to navigate to the page and use this URL. So you can access by the URL, you can access by the page title. If you want to know the page title, I say you right click and you go to let me do it here this way. You go to view page source. It should show here in the title, line 8. You see, this is the title of the page. You can use it, or you can use anything that is meaningful, like this particular thing. That is what is distinguished about this page. So you can copy this element and check over here on your element on the right side. You can see it's called privacy policy here, and you copy the um, you copy the HTML. Sorry, the expert or the CSS selector. So if I copy and I do Control F and I check, hola, I say 1 of 1. So if I use this particular element to check if this page has this words, privacy policy, then my test will pass. Good question. There are times too you can put message in your assertion so that by your message you denote a negative context so that if it fails, that message will appear on the assertion. So for instance, I'm thinking how I'll write it now. Usually I wouldn't do it this way. See if it will work this way. See, it wouldn't work. I said that. Yeah. So like it's very common with Java a lot, but C# too, I think you can do it. Usually you can write a message. Let's say asset contains, let me see if that one works. Asset that. No, not this one. Console the right line. Facebook is not on the page. I was thinking how I will write it in the line. I can't remember, but I've written another statement like this. So what I can do is that I can put this in an if clause, that if it goes there and this thing fails, okay, it should write this message. It should let me know that this is the message that is presenting to me. And that is a nice way to write your assertion as well, to make it much more, it looks more pro. But I can't remember now, but at the moment you can use this. But in Java and yeah, mostly Java, when you're using assert, that it gives you an option where you can put in your string of message. Then after that, there's a comma, then you can put in what you want to assert. So it gives you that two string option. But n unit, I think there's one of them that does that. I can't remember which one. I think assert contains or something like that. You can put in the string, then after that you put comma, then you write your code in there. But if you can't do it that way, then you have to use maybe if clause. Mm. So I said if true, then I can put in my message. Then I can put else. and, and okay. And let me put a semicolon here. And delete this one. It says it can't reach the code, but I will still do it. Okay, so I'm going to change this Facebook thing. Element, I want it to true false and run this code.
I mean, is that not a conditional statement here? As if.
Uh, the- 1 second, let me see what it writes. Uh, they didn't write the content. Else if, let me see. Let's see. Else if, no, not this one. This is different.
Why? Well,
Let me see if I do is then I can write a return. But that would be too complicated what I'm going to show. But there are times when you can put in a simple statement, so that every time the test fails, anybody who is reading your code, they know exactly that, okay, oh, the test has failed. Then they can see in the message, that it will display in the message in here, that, okay, it didn't find that particular assertion, or it couldn't find that particular method. So it's like it's giving you reason. So, but all the time you have to write, although this is true, you want it to display, you write this contest in a negative sense, so that every time it fails, you are seeing this message. If it pass, you won't see this message. Okay, if it pass, you won't see the message, but if it fails, you see the message like that. Yeah, any other question?
Yeah.
If
What if you want to validate a message pop up when you, maybe when you log in, or when you enter? Okay, let me share my screen. Can I share my screen?
yes.
On this page now, what if you want to validate when you put an email? And you click subscribe. Yeah, and you get this message.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to do that?
you, you I mentioned that in the beginning. Who can help? Just to check if everybody's listening and not sleeping. Who can help?
Yeah, that is where you said that you can use a particular that is as it's posted. Yeah, you can copy the website directly because it's been posted. The message has been posted already. You can copy like
Yes.
test. Yeah, that's what it needs to use over there. That's to ascertain that particular website. The message has been sent
The
already.
message.
So you just copy the whole thing and put it in the assertion field.
Okay.
So this is Ola.
Well done, Ola. So you can
It's Ola. That's Ola Tuji.
Olatuji. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. You are listening. I mentioned it. So I mentioned so many. I can't give all the examples. Sometimes it can be a drop down, and I use the drop down example that you can submit a form and it can say, "Oh, you've submitted it successfully." So you can get that context. There are times when I mentioned the business analysts in their requirement, they will tell you exactly what message has to appear, and that means that you have to check whether the developer has done exactly that message, because they too can make spelling mistakes or write some message. So you give the context, the comparison with that message to check if it's that exact message, or in your situation, you just want to check that particular message appears or is displayed. And you can give the context if it's matching the exact words, or if that particular um, element that contains the page, that contains the message is displayed. We've gone over our time. Let me see your code, the one who just shared the screen.
Okay.
So every time you write your code, before you check in your code, make sure you have an assertion. Oh. Don't leave it. Even if it's a simple assert that, make sure at least there's an assertion, because your test is incomplete if you don't have an assertion. That is like the cardinal um, point on your test that shows that you've completed writing your test case. So because we said that when you are using BDD, we're saying given, when, then. We want to see the results. So if you haven't accepted the results, how can you say you have finished your test? So if you're submitting this for me to check your and do a PR and you don't add a session, I won't approve it too. Okay. So so yeah, so go to your page. I don't think we will have time because I was hoping we'll get 1 hour to do it. Go to the website. Go to the website, click on that particular message. Yes, right click. So this message, you can also put in your feature file in your then clause, right? To make sure that this matches exactly with it. Like in my case, I had the exact URL in my giving. Okay, so you can say then the user should see that this message is displayed. Then you do a double quote your responses. I'm showing you different ways to do it. You don't have to do it now. Your responses were successfully submitted. Thank you. But because you have um parameterize it, when it gets when you are setting it, it's going to match exactly what it gets from your element. You can see the element is exactly the same words. Okay, it's going to match that one with what was in your feature file and compare. So if you are checking asset dot are the same or are equal, then it's going to check like that. So in your case, you can just do it by the element, right click, because if you don't submit this page, you won't get this message, right? So you want to see, right click. I don't think I'll have time to. It's now 11 o'clock. Go on. Have you done it? Copy the CSS or XPath. Well done. This badge, you guys are good. Oh. I don't have to talk a lot. I can see every badge. I mean, people are doing well. Yeah, you know how to find your elements. Nice. That's why I'm not seeing a lot of issues on the QA chat because you guys are doing your work very, very well. I'm impressed. Um, Ola, if you are there, you can stop the recording. Oh. You don't have to let the recording go on if you want to sleep. Because I can't stop the recording. But if you can. You haven't finished. We are waiting for you. You have to go to your Visual Studio and create um that particular iWeb element. Well done. I was hoping that you go to line 23 to do your variable first. What group are you in?
Aita.
Sorry?
Aita.
I can't hear that too.
Aita. Aita.
IOTA. Wow.
Yeah.
this batch, the group's names are quite some. Usually, I like to teach this way, like the way you are doing it. It will help you to catch it faster, so that we are observing. It puts pressure on you, but it's good because there have been people who have passed through Blue Sky Citadel that have went for interview. And fortunately, they asked them to create a framework or do something, and by doing this, they got a job. You get it. But that that means that in your teams, try and meet together and do the framework together. Help other people as well. As you are helping other people's, it helps you to learn faster because when pressure is on you and everybody's looking at your screen, you can feel the pressure. And if you can do it, trust me, in the interview, if it's just one person looking at your work, you can do it because we are about 30 something. You can talk us through what you are doing for those who don't understand what you are doing. At least I'm helping with your mentoring skills. Well, when you get job, come and mentor so I can rest.
I don't know it as just trying I'm trying to see if I'll get it.
Sorry. Yeah, return. Use return. The second one. Yeah. So that's the keyword. Well done. So talk us through what you are doing at the moment.
Uh,
It's okay.
so I'm trying to get the assertion.
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
So am I going to put the message here now?
Yeah, you can put you are walking us through. You can put message in there,
It's not
but
working.
it will not work because you haven't used the find element already. If you know how you declare your variable, you use private by newsletter equals or assigned to CSS selector, but you haven't used um the method that comes with driver, which is find element. So don't use the equal to now.
Which one are you
And
talking about?
besides to you yes.
Okay.
So remove the equals to and look for driver dot find element. just like you've done in line 32.
Do I still need to put the return or
Driver,
I should
yeah,
leave?
bring the R dot find element. Yeah. So hold on. So immediately you hit the dot, you can see there's a lot of options for you here. You have equals, you have find element, you have get attribute, get CSS, get DOM attributes. All this you can use for assertion, depending on what you want to do, the context of what you want to do. Okay. If you use equal, that means that you have to provide it in your feature file so that it will compare. So now
Okay.
you cannot use equal. You can only use like display. But if you have provided the exact words already, that means that in this return keyword, you want to compare in your file that what the find element driver.find element is getting from newsletter. Does it equals what was in your feature file? You get it? Yeah, so this is fine. Then can finish up. Well done. So tell us what are you going to do next?
I'm going to call it in my step definition.
Well done. To be quick, once you type the objects and it gives you option, just click the tab key so that you don't have to type everything. So you call the method is good. So you can see it's giving you, do it again. It gives you the suggestion of what you are looking for.
Tap.
Yes.
What should I tap? Up.
So you have to click now. You have to click it now. Move the arrow down because it's not giving you the option of tap, double tap. Yeah.
Yeah. So now bring your fluent assertion. So remove the semicolon. Remove the semicolon at the end. Then hit the dot.
Display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Should
Yeah.
double tap.
So do double tap. Then it will do everything for you. That's one thing these days. Coding has become easy. But
It's finished.
if it's your first
Yes.
time, you might think it's difficult. Before you won't get this IntelliSense,
But
you have to.
it's not in the it's not 2017. It's not in that.
Yes, it won't give you the double tap in the 2017 and
17. No, no.
yeah, but 2019 you will get it.
Yeah, you get
T-
2019.
Yeah, 2019. But there are some IntelliSense that are in 2022 that are not in 2019.
Exactly.
Yeah. So as you keep coding all the time, you see that they are enhancing and making things much better.
I forgot to uncomment this one when I was calling it um in the step definition.
Okay. Go.
Right click on it and go to divide.
Hold on.
But I've done it already.
Go back to where the step definition. There's a way to do it. Save this. Save everything again. Okay. What?
So if you save and build, it will do it.
Okay. That's brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. It's done.
Uh,
Yeah. So
So so you have to I can you have to put assertion in all your pages, you know.
you have to help your teammates in your project group. So in case your mentor is not around,
No,
you help them.
I'm in a different I'm in a different group.
Sorry.
I'm in a different group.
Yeah, you have to help that group.
Yeah, I'm helping them already. Yeah.
Oh, well done. Yeah, so we'll call it a night. But I think right now the team should be able to automate a lot of things. Because you have completed the whole test at the moment, and from now everything you do is a duplication.
It's a
It's a
running one.
duplication in the sense that either you use your existing page object class that has some element, or you create a new page object for the new feature. So if the next one is to long reach check on products or something like that, that means that you create a feature file, you create a step definition, then you create a class, then you go and find every implementation of the step definition, you create your iWeb elements and also your methods. Then you call the methods, then you repeat, then you add assertion, then you end it, then you go for your next test case. So depending on how many test scenarios you have, you keep repeating, and that's the gist of it, of where you have to do coding. There are times when the page may be throwing issues which you have to resolve. Maybe you get a lot of exception, but you have to be patient. It's not every time um you get it rosy that everything will work. You can see when I started mine, it was just throwing error. But your ability to understand what the error is, how to resolve it, that will make you enjoy coding. So don't give up because it keeps failing, it keeps failing. In fact, the boy is failing, is teaching you because if everything passed, you wouldn't think of other scenarios by which you can resolve it. But if you face difficulties, it helps you. And that's why I said you should help your teams, because if somebody is having issue, like when you were doing the element, you were getting some errors, then we said no, save it, build it, somebody was suggesting. That's how you learn. So help your teams and you you sail through. I'll call it a night. I don't know if there's any final question, but if anything, I think your next topic somebody will treat. But when I get chance, I will meet with you guys and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you so much, Kwame. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, thanks. This is Deji. Yeah. Okay. I think that these two people actually stood out. Actually, Akinola and Olatunji. You guys actually kind of did very well. So I'm really, really impressed. So one thing I can say is like to reward you. If you guys are interested in advance, I can give you 20% off actually. So, but yeah, so and if you're able now to say, hey, I've got two people that I've taught in my my team, and they now know automation like myself, right? And you can point to two people and they can showcase yourself. I'm willing even to give you 50% actually. But for
You
now,
gave
I
me
can.
50% before, so let's
Oh,
round it
okay.
up 100%.
I see. Unfortunately, like I said, that's the thing. What happens like you know people, right? So, and I did the same thing last time, and I said I'm giving you 50%. The guy said I've already got 50%. No, it's these best guys will always put themselves forward. You always know them anyway. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I need commitment from people as well anyway. So if not for that, I think yeah. So and that is Akinola. Is that Akinola or Olatunji?
Olatunji is there too.
Okay,
So,
you've already got the percentage, right?
no, I have it.
Yeah.
It's for the first time. It's the first time you are giving me.
Oh, it's the first time. Okay, all right. So okay, so Akinola already got his own. So yeah, okay. So,
And you gave me
but
one yesterday, sir. You didn't say anything about that.
sorry.
You gave me one yesterday. I don't know if it's voucher or still discount.
Yeah,
No,
it will
ask
be
for the
discount.
voucher. That's the voucher.
Yeah, that's the voucher. It will be
Okay.
20% anyway. So yeah, yeah. So it will be 20% voucher or discount, whatever you call it. Some people call it scholarship anyway. And yeah. So
Okay, thank you.
all right. Okay. To be honest, when I see this effort, I was listening in. I know you guys are also asking questions. I like what Akola did actually. Like what Kwame said, to be honest, what you did is enough. You can actually just graduate. The rest is the boring part. You have to repeat in everything. And that's even though it's the boring part, it's the fun part as well. Because that's what separates you from Kwame, actually. I know Kwame will have lost count. To be honest, Kwame will have lost count how many framework he has set up. But every time it's going to be the same thing anyway. But the more you do it several times, the more you can do it in your dream. And you sleep, you'll be looking at driver,
Yeah.
find element. You will just be seeing it. Once you are not seeing it in your dream, you are not there yet.
Yeah.
And it's also will happen one time that you see the code in your dream. You just want to wake up and grab your laptop. It happens like that. You want to grab your laptop quickly,
It's
so
true.
just fix it. Yeah, but it's
Especially
gonna be
if you have
interesting.
some element that is troubling you.
Exactly.
You
And
go to
and
bed and you'll be thinking. And the thing is, by the time you wake up to, you get a solution. And you want to
mhm,
wake go and sit
yeah,
by there.
exactly. You get inspiration from heaven. I just saw because you don't want to forget your
Yeah.
that yeah. Well, yeah, guys, just keep at it. And like I said, we're going to have a session on Saturday, right? I think we might start early, hopefully, let's say from 7 o'clock till whenever, actually. So please get ready. So by the end of this week, I know that at least the target will be, if not half of this class, I would say that 40% of this class should be an expert in automation. At least you know how to set up automation from scratch. That will be our target. Nah. So then if you are able to get 40% in here by Saturday, they know what to do, then that 40% will help another 20%. Do you get it now? So to be honest, I'm really, really excited. By the end of this course, we'll know that, yeah, if not like 70% of you guys who can proudly say, yeah, I can set up automation from scratch. Then after that, you can build up on anything that you want to build up, whether by yourself or a different place at work, or if you want to come up to advance, that's fine. But we want to be sure that, yeah, at least you know what to do. But right now, I know that at least 80%, if not 90% of you guys already know how to set up Visual Studio and create projects right now. So that's it. And the rest is following up from what Oyin has taught, following up from what Kwame has taught, what Pat has taught, everyone put it together. That's what we are going to do on Saturday. Put everything together, how all these building blocks, actually put them together, make it in a nice way. So thank you so much, everyone. And thanks, Kwame, for always kind of helping it. To be honest, we can't do this without you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any question before I let Kwame go, or any question? Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, sir.
All right.
Good night.
Yes, sir.
Good night. Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Right.